What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since I put out a video, but here we are. We're going to put out this video smoking up a rack of ribs today. I'm going to show you the way I do it. That doesn't mean it's the right way or the only way. There's multiple ways you can do it your way, but I'm going to tell you that the only way to do it is with Saucy Beard rubs. We'll get into that in a little bit. I do want to let you guys know I do have a couple videos on the back burner. They are recorded. We just need to work on editing and getting those out to you guys. I know it's been quite a while, and I do apologize about that. But anyway, here we are. We're going to smoke these ribs, like I said, and let's just get into it. A couple things we're going to need to start. Your rub, mustard, and some paper towels. I got a butter knife, a regular knife, and you're going to want a couple extra paper towels, one or two of them, because you're going to want to pat these ribs down, get all the moisture off of them before we slather them up in mustard. I'm going to give you the science behind why we use mustard as a binder, and there's a couple different reasons. One of them, it gives you a little tacky surface that your seasoning is going to adhere to, so it sticks to the meat and doesn't fall off. That thin layer, because you're going to rub it thin, it's going to help a uniform crust to form while it cooks. So that'll help that. Your sugar and vinegar and the mustard, that's going to caramelize on your ribs as well, so that'll help give you some caramelization, as well as depending on what kind of rub you use, some of these stuff in the rubs, sugars and whatnot, are going to caramelize. I know a lot of people don't like mustard, but here's the thing, you're not going to taste that mustard. The mustard flavor completely cooks out. You won't even know it's there. So you're not going to taste that. Mustard is a water and vinegar base, so that moisture inside of the mustard helps attract smoke, and it helps it adhere to the meat. Vinegar also breaks down the surface proteins of the meat, so that helps with texture and smoke penetration to get inside of the meat better. So you want that vinegar base. You don't want to use like an oil, because oil is actually going to repel the smoke. It's not going you're not going to allow your smoke to get into the meat. So don't use an oil. Mustard is a really good binder. It's cheap. I've seen people use mayo and stuff, which probably might work okay, but I also think about the fact that mayo has oil in it, and I don't know. There's science behind a lot of those different things, but mustard is kind of the go-to, and I just gave you the science behind that one. So anyway, let me get this rack of ribs flipped over. First thing, actually, we're going to go ahead and just pat the top dry, get all that moisture off. And then we're going to go ahead and flip these over and get that membrane removed. I'm going to go ahead and pat this dry before I do so, because that membrane is super slippery. It's hard to handle. Just help get some of that moisture off of there. And then I like to take a sharp knife and just kind of score that membrane a little bit. You can take your butter knife, get up under that membrane, and you're going to just pull on it. And it's going to work its way off. Another option besides the butter knife, that's why I got a couple paper towels over here to show you guys. You can use a paper towel, and that'll help you grip that membrane a little better. The reason you want to get this membrane off of there, sorry, I'm going to speak over the aluminum foil. You want to get that membrane off because it is going to prevent any of the smoke from penetrating, any of the flavor from penetrating like your rub and the smoke from penetrating down into the meat. So you want to get that membrane out of the way. Alright, let me wash my hands real quick. I'm only washing them up because I don't want this meat all over my bottles. Alright, so I'm going to keep one clean hand, one dry hand. Like I said, we're going to use mustard. It can be just a plain old yellow mustard, the cheapest one you can find in the store. It doesn't matter. And we're going to slather that on. It's just got to be a little bit. You're not using a ton. Just making a real light coating on there. I actually should have pat that dry a little bit, but it's not bad. It's pretty good actually, but you want to get this all over the place and all the different crevices down the sides, anywhere you're gonna put your rub. Alright, and then like I said, we're going to use Saucy Beard. This is a maple smoke rib rub. I believe I've talked about in the past that I had a barbecue line, and just recently I came out with quite a few different rubs. I'm trying to get this open one-handed here, get the seal off of it. Alright, there we go. So anyway, recently came out with a whole line of rubs. This maple smoke rib rub is a very good one. It's actually made with maple sugar. It's got other ingredients you typically find in like a sweet rub. Some brown sugar, paprika, garlic, onion, salt, pepper, mustard powder, all those good things. So that is a good one. It can be used on more than just ribs. I do have a line here of some of our sample packs to show you guys real quick. We've got a Grill Master Burger Blend. We got this one we released for the holidays, Harvest Herb Turkey Rub. This is going to be really good with your turkeys. Got Sizzling Steakhouse. This one is going to be very pepper and salt forward versus this Longhorn Butter Blend, which is more of a butter-based steak rub. This one is Maple Smoke. We've already shown you that one. We have a Pitmaster's Classic Rub. So this one is going to be kind of your all-around barbecue rub. We have a Peachy Whiskey Dust. This is another good sweet one. Good on all the meats really. I mean, some brisket, some ribs, pork butt, all of those. So like I said, that one's a sweet one. We have an El Pastor. This is a pineapple based. That is good for your Mexican street tacos for chicken and pork. More so pork for your traditional El Pastor. And then our newest one is a Southern Codler Blend. This is a dessert rub. This isn't necessarily for your meats. Or not a dessert rub, my apologies. A dessert blend. Not necessarily for meats. This is good to sprinkle on ice cream, pancakes, French toast, that type of thing. All of these have ingredients on the back. Again, like I said, these are sample packs. There's also going to be a QR code that takes you to our website. On our website, we have a number of different recipes and stuff like that. So those are all available in sample packs as well as full-size bottles. But enough of that. We're going to get to seasoning our maple smoke rib rub. You want to get this on there, and you can be thick with it. Be generous. Get that on, pat that into that meat. Make sure you're coating all those surfaces. You're going to get that bark formation, and those sugars inside of there is going to help you get that. But if you don't have any of that rub on a certain part of meat, you're not going to get that nice sugary caramelization on that section. So just make sure you get that really pressed in there. You can rub it like it says, but the thing is, you're really just going to rub it off. But I'm trying to keep this hand clean, so we're doing this one-handed. Flip that sucker over, and we're going to take our mustard on this side. We already patted it all dry, and we're going to get that mustard on there. Maybe. There we go. And again, just a real thin layer is all we need. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to make this necessarily a cooking style video like you're going to find on your cooking channel. Just trying to explain, I guess. But once we got that all rubbed over that, sprinkle this on generously again. You're not going to over salt this or anything like that. This doesn't have a ton of salt in there. And then once again, just pat that in there. Need a little bit over here. I'm going to sprinkle some on my fingers and just try to get it on these sides a little bit, since I'm trying to keep my hand kind of clean. And again, I don't want to get stuff all over my bottles, so I have to wipe everything down. But alright, so we got that all done. Look at all that. Next is we're going to just load this into the smoker. I'm actually going to put a temperature prong in here. And I meant temperature probe. So you're just going to want to get this into a fat part of the meat. A thick part rather, and you don't want it touching any bone, because your bone's going to get hotter than the meat. So make sure you're in a nice thick part of the meat. We are going to carry this outside and load it into the smoker. Again, I am using a pellet smoker. Give me all the grief you want, I don't care. I like it. It tastes good to me. I like the convenience of it. So anyway, we're going to get this up loaded in there. I've already got that preheated, so let's get that in there. Alright, we got our ribs loaded into the smoker, and I got that meat probe in there. This is preheated, like I said. This is an upright pellet smoker. It is an 85 Pit Boss. It's the Pro Series. I really enjoy the smoker. I love the upright version. You can get a lot of meat in there. You could probably do 6 to 8 racks of ribs in this one. Maybe even more. I could put another rack up top. But here's the display on the side. We are smoking at 250. Right now it's dropped a little bit because I had the door open. But right there you can see 47 degrees. That's the meat temperature with the probe. We're going to smoke these for about 6 hours. A couple things I'm going to touch on is, I know people do a 3-2-1 method, so it's 3 hours in here unwrapped just like this, and then they'll pull them, wrap them in foil for 2 hours, and then after 2 hours take it back out of the foil, put it back in here for an hour. So we're not going to do that method. We're just going to let it run 250 until we hit right around 190 to 205. I'm going to look at the bones on the meat, and the meat's going to shrink up on those bones. So I will show you guys that when that time comes. But for now, we're going to close this door and just let them go. So we'll be back in a little bit. I did want to show this app real quick. This is the Pit Boss app. So it's got all your controls and functions on here as well. The only thing you can't really do is turn your grill on, but you can shut it off. You can set timers, alarms, all that good stuff. So if you want it to let you know when your meat reaches a certain temperature, you can set that temperature in here and it'll let you know when it's good. This is Wi-Fi. The grill is Wi-Fi and Bluetooth enabled, so I can take off, do what I need to do, and check on my meat while I'm out. So anyway, I wanted to show you guys that app real quick. And we're getting back up to 250, 6 hours, so we'll check in with those in a little bit. Alright, here we are, 2 hours in. Take a look at this meat. That is looking good. Smoke got in my eyeballs. I think I had some smoke in my throat earlier too when I started this video, but I might have sounded a little sick. So anyway, I wanted to just take this time to update. And I forgot to mention before, I do have a water pan here with some water in it. So you definitely want to have some water in there, keep some moisture inside of your smoker so your meat doesn't get dried out, especially if you're not doing the wrap method. An hour through, I did drop my temperature down to 225 instead of the 250. Actually, it's 220, but you can see we're up at 154. All right, it's that time. Let's open this up and check them out. Whew, smoky. You guys can't really see that on camera. And it's kind of dark out now, unfortunately, and it's just barely past 6. I don't know, let me see if I can't get some light in here. There's a little bit of light. But I was talking earlier about the bones, so you can see the bones there, how they shrunk back from, or how the meat shrunk back on the bones there. So that's how you know they're done. So we're going to go ahead and pull these out. I am going to hand the camera over so I can pull those. It takes 2 hands to do this. And get it unstuck. Slide this sucker out onto that pan. There's our ribs. So we're gonna get these inside and get them cut up. Alright, we got these ribs in here. I'm gonna tell you guys, you'll hear a lot of people say that you need to let your meat rest, and that only pertains to beef. Resting pork really doesn't do anything for you. The purpose of resting the meat is to allow it to smoke, or to soak up the moisture and allow that moisture to get back into the meat. Your pork is not going to do that. So we're going to get this switched over to the cutting board. I flip it over so that I can see the bones easier for cutting these. I can't see this one very well on the end. Oh, we were close. Alright. Also, fall off the bone ribs are technically overdone, and I'm not just saying that because of these not being fall off the bone, but I am struggling finding the bone here. Oh wow, that goes at a large angle. Alright, well now I know that. Alright, that made me feel dumb, but we're on the right track here. And I'll show you guys inside of there. It's nice and juicy. You can see some smoke ring, which I will also tell you, a big smoke ring really doesn't tell you that your ribs are smoked or your meat's smoked a lot. There's lots of arguments about that too. And my understanding is the smoke ring is not necessarily indication that of how much smoke it's gotten. But go ahead, argue that down in the comments. I'm not scared. We're going to finish getting these cut up. And I'm going to drizzle this, a few of these anyway, with some of the Saucy Beard bourbon smoked hot honey. that is also one of our products. You can find that on the website. I'll share that website in the description. Obviously this video is full of plugs. Not the typical video, but hey, the guy's got to make his money somehow, right? We're going to give this a try. I had that one piece of meat. I'll cut that up into a smaller section to give it a bite. Let's see how this rub tastes. You can see how glistening, juicy that is. And that came out delicious. So I did want to touch base real quick on, I showed you guys all those seasoning packs and I forgot to point out the birria. So I know you guys have seen the birria bombs on the market. These are packets of seasoning. They don't come in a ball form. You don't need to spend all that extra money on a display of a ball. And the other thing too is, if you're not cooking 4 pounds of meat and don't want to use the whole ball, you got to break it up and try and guess. With this, it comes in a resealable package. You can cook anywhere from whatever, 1 ounce or whatever, all the way up to 4 pounds, and reseal the package for later if you don't use all of it for the 4 pounds. These are cheaper than the balls. Again, they come in the resealable packs. We have the classic, we have a smoky, and we have a Hellfire Habanero. So check those out. Again, like I said, they're cheaper. Right now to the end of October, anything you order, you will get a free sample pack of birria that's good for 1 ounce of meat. Or I'm sorry, 1 pound of meat. Orders over $45 will be free shipping. So anyway, check that out. Thanks for watching, guys. I will see you next video.